just got real weak. It felt like my knees just stopped working. And my legs totally just stopped working.
He told me that he couldn't feel half of his body and couldn't move half of his body, and knew pretty quickly that he was having a stroke.
When we arrived on scene, I could tell that he wasn't moving the left side of his body. He was talking to us when we got there, did have some slurred speech, so it was fairly evident that he had a stroke going on.
Hi there, McGregor Brownlow. Can I speak with a doctor on call, please? I called into the emergency room. I knew there was a doctor that would be fielding phone calls, and I believe it was Dr. Lowe that I talked to. I found him down here and with a woman by his side who had already called EMS, and told them that I came across Bill and his basic past medical history.
The amazing thing was we got a physician's report on his condition almost immediately from the time of the event. I'm not sure if that's ever happened before.
Myself and 2 other people jumped in the back of the ambulance, and we headed straight to the hospital, and we just tried to get as much done as we could prior to arriving so that we had more information for the hospital when we got here. There's a lot of stroke mimickers, so we want to make sure that we're doing a good assessment. We're going to be doing baseline vitals, which is our blood pressure, heart rate. For stroke, we do a minimum of a 4-lead, 12-lead if we can. Blood sugar, we start what we call large bore IV, so we want that to be able to get that IV established so that the hospital can draw labs or do contrast if they need to do imaging.
Being part of the stroke program, we actually have a little alert on our phones that alerts us every time somebody comes in with a stroke alert to the emergency department. If you don't acknowledge the stroke alert, your phone just keeps ringing. And so I was annoyed that my phone was ringing, and I picked it up, and it says the name of the patient and the stroke alert, and I looked and I went to acknowledge it, and it said Bill Platte. Oh crap, that's my dad. I did a double take, and I said some curse words, and I said to my husband, I said, that's my dad.
When we call a stroke alert, they have their stroke team that gets alerted right away, and they're ready for us.
The key team members meet there, exchange key pieces of information, and then we make a decision as to whether we need to go to one of our ED rooms or whether we can go straight to the CAT scanner.
The longer that tissue goes without blood flow, the higher risk that that tissue is going to die and you're not going to be able to get it back.
My initial observation on seeing Bill was that this was a real deal. There clearly had not been significant improvement in the few minutes that it took to get him to the hospital, and it was a very dramatic scene showing that he was having what looked to be at that point a massive stroke.
I got on the phone with Dr. Lowe, and he said, we have your dad here and he's having a stroke. And at that point, I think that's all I heard. I didn't hear how severe it was or anything. I'm usually so prepared everywhere I go, and I remember just jumping in the car and making sure I had my badge. And it is a 30-minute drive, and it was quiet. I think my brain was just racing, kind of a quiet, panicked blur, I guess.
The patient's condition appeared to be getting worse from the time that we picked him up to the time that we had gotten him to CT.
This is the vessel of interest, which we follow out, and then we see an abrupt cutoff here indicating that that blood vessel is occluded. Thus the reason for transfer for thrombectomy.